Hey friends, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're gonna have a rabbit chat. We have not had a rabbit chat in a long time, and I think it is well overdue. Today we're gonna talk about how to keep your rabbits from fighting. Now this is gonna be kind of a sit down video, so go ahead, grab your coffee, join me, and let's discuss this. Now for those of y'all who do not know me, my name is Megan. On social media, I go by Living the Hight Life, and I am the author of the book, The Homesteader's Guide to Raising Rabbits, as well as Feeding Meat Rabbits for Free and Home Cooked Rabbit. I love sharing my rabbit knowledge with people, and I do so on Instagram, Facebook, and of course here on YouTube. And I am happy to have you here with me. So we on our homestead have rabbit cages, rabbit tractors, and a rabbit colony. So we have seen most things that you can expect with rabbits here in our time of raising rabbits. Our rabbit cages are great for keeping rabbits up off the ground. They keep our rabbits separated once our rabbits are done nursing and they are at the weaning age. We don't have much issues with rabbits wanting to fight within our cages, except at breeding time when the doe in one cage wants to fight with the doe who's being bred in the other cage. It happens. Sometimes they get a little snippy through the wire, but they can't get to each other and they can't hurt each other. Our rabbit tractor back here we use for grow out rabbits. That means rabbits who are past weaning age and are growing out to butcher stage. Since we raise meat rabbits, we do butcher them here on our homestead, and of course we sell tools to make the rabbit butchering process easier. We have the rabbit dispatch tool, the rabbit gambrel, and if you put them together you have the bunny breaker duo. If you ever want to purchase those or learn how to use them, check the description box below where we will have a link to our website. You can go to the page where you purchase them, and there's a YouTube video there that will show you how to use them. Now the rabbits back here in our rabbit tractor, they are our grow out rabbits. So they stay there until I either decide to keep them as breeders or we butcher them. These rabbits do not make it to the mature age of rabbits, so they are never sexually mature, and their hormones do not get amped up with that maturity, and so we don't have as much issues with them fighting. Occasionally there'll be a scuffle or two in there, but they handle it on their own. Currently in this rabbit tractor back here, I have 9 rabbits that are growing out, and that rabbit tractor, while it looks small in the picture, is 4 feet by 6 feet, and that is plenty for those grow out rabbits. These rabbit cages are 9 square feet, they're 3 foot by 3 foot, and that is perfect for our breeding rabbits because we will leave our kits in here with our does until they're 6 or 8 weeks old whenever we need to breed them, and that gives them plenty of space. Now, the one place that most people have issues with their rabbits fighting is in a rabbit colony. And we have seen our fair share of rabbit scuffles in there. Sometimes they can get a little aggressive, and sometimes they're no big deal. So I'm going to go over when you should be worried and what you should do about it if you're having your rabbits fighting. So rabbits and their scuffles. Rabbits have a pecking order similar to that of chickens. There is always a dominant rabbit, a dominant doe actually, and then a dominant male, and then you have your lesser rabbits. That dominant doe is going to keep your rabbits in line. So if one of your lesser rabbits is acting out or being a little too territorial, trying to overthrow that doe or whatever, that doe is going to get in there. She's going to show she's boss. She may pull some fur out, chase that lesser doe around, make her hide, and just prove that she is the stronger, better doe. Now, for your bucks, we never ever keep more than 1 mature buck in an area at a time. I don't ever want 2 mature bucks together because they are likely to castrate each other in the point of trying to prove who is the most dominant. You don't want that. Instead, what I want my buck to do in my colony is to mediate the violence between the does. So if one doe is going after another one too hot and heavy, that buck will get in there, get between them, and kind of defend that lesser doe. He is the peacekeeper. Now, occasionally he will join the scuffle if there's something going on to defend his ladies, but there's few situations that'll happen, and we will go over those as well. Now, once your rabbits have their pecking order figured out, your scuffles should be few and they should be minor. But that pecking order can take them a few days to establish, so expect to see fur flying and see some chasing. That is normal rabbit behavior. It is a little aggression, but it's normal rabbit behavior to see chasing and fur pulling. If you don't want this issue to occur, I highly recommend that you raise your does together, either from the same litter or separate litters born near the same time. Go ahead and keep them does together from birth and put them in the colony at the same time, or raise them from birth in the colony, however you do. Now, when we want to replace those in our colony, we choose from the litters that are born in the colony and leave that doe in the colony until she hits sexual maturity and is a colony doe at that point. I don't try to take them out because that limits the scuffles. It helps her be brought up in the way of a rabbit hierarchy. She kind of learns the rules and the ways to go about it. So that's why we do that. However, if I seen a beautiful doe that I could not resist having and I wanted her in my colony, it would be possible to introduce her if we just did a few things to keep the aggression low and to get our rabbits on more of an even footing. If you want to introduce a new mature doe to an established colony, or put 2, 3, 4, however many mature does together in a colony for a first time, we're going to go over those rules. However, one caveat, I never ever recommend you take an established colony, which means you have mature does and everything in there, and put a young kit in with those does. Now, this kit would be too small to hold their own against mature does. They will be picked on and very likely killed. Instead, you will want to raise that kit up to maturity and then add her in, or just buy the rabbit once it's already mature. But never add a young kit, think anything less than 16 weeks, into an already established colony that has mature does in it. If you are just starting your colony, the easiest thing to do is to throw all your does in there at the same time. This will allow nobody to have established territories, so they are going to fight a little bit, scuffle a little bit to prove who's dominant and to pick out their territories, and then once they have, they're done. And you'll have some minor skirmishes throughout the time as, you know, one doe tries to overthrow an alpha and the alpha kind of has to put her foot down, that sort of thing. But if you can put all of your does in the colony at the same time, that is your best bet. If you cannot, or you are adding a mature doe to an already established colony, you want to do a few things. First, if there's rabbits who are already living in there, you want to rearrange that colony. When you rearrange that colony, you destroy all of their territories, and now they're all on even footing because nobody has an established territory anymore. Now, you can take and move your nest boxes around. I dug out my colony, put some nest boxes back in it, and then moved the dirt all around to distribute the scents evenly. And then moved the pipes and logs and stuff I have in my colony for the rabbits to get in and get on around. And so that gives them a brand new slate and nobody has an established territory. If your colony is more of a permanent setup, like your nest boxes are in a permanent place and you can't really move them, you can disturb the dirt, bring in hay to cover up all that old scent, add some things like add some buckets and some logs or something here and there to kind of give it a little bit of a different feel, and that will help as well. Now, once you have done that, next I want you to take some of those things and create hides and burrows. If you do not already have hides and burrows in your colonies, please stop this video and go put hides and burrows in your colony. This is one of the biggest things I can ever recommend to you, because a rabbit needs something to hide behind, to burrow into, or to climb on top of to get away from other rabbits. We use pipes, we use nest boxes, we allow them to dig in the dirt to a certain degree. I have logs in there for them to get up on top of, things like that. Think about it this way: if you put two dominant people in a room together and they don't like each other, because rabbits really don't like each other, and they are like, you know, snapping back and forth at each other, and all they can do is look at each other, aggression is going to go through the roof and they're going to fight. Same with rabbits. If you put two rabbits in a colony together and all they can do is look at each other and they're going to fight. However, you put those two same aggressive people who are back and forth to each other, and you put a wall or something between them, and they can't, you know, chitter chatter back and forth, the aggression doesn't rise, instead it de-escalates, because now they're not looking at each other and they can't continue building on that aggression until it gets into an explosive battle. Same with rabbits. By providing these hides, you give the rabbits a place to get away from each other and allow those temperatures to cool down so that they're not in an all-out battle. They can get away, they can kind of forget about each other, relax, take some deep breaths, and chill out. If you do not have these, your rabbits are going to continuously fight because they don't have anything else to do. So adding these hides and burrows is an important step. Additionally, with rabbits, with them having territories and stuff, they really need to have their space to have those set territories. So in our colony, we practice the rule of 10 square feet per mature rabbit. That's a minimum. You can always go more. For a rabbit that we're going to allow kids to stay in there until weaning or even until grow out age, we're going to increase that. Currently, I have 3 rabbits in a colony that is, let's see, 16 by 8, so 130 square feet maybe. I could have way more rabbits in there. These rabbits will be allowed to raise their kits up until almost at processing time, when I go through and sex them to make sure we don't have any surprises at processing time. And they will continuously have litters in here because we're doing an unrestricted breeding and a male is in there, so my does will continuously breed and produce kits. So I want to give them all the space to grow those kits up how they need to. So make sure you have enough space in your colony for the amount of rabbits that you have in there. If you are running into a space issue and you need more space to put rabbits, but you can't extend onto your colony, think of building up instead of out. If you can add platforms, a place for rabbits to walk up and then have a platform to sit on, that adds additional space to your colony. Think of it as like building a 2-story colony. Have a place for a rabbit to get up and walk around, have platforms around your edges of your colony, and that does give them more space, more territories, and they will thank you for it, and you can have more rabbits in your colony. Now, one situation you may get into, that we have gotten into, that you can't really help, is if you have to remove a rabbit from your colony for a day or 2 or 3 and then put them back. Think about like if you have to quarantine a rabbit, or if you need to pull your buck out. Like I've recently pulled my buck out and allowed him to breed another rabbit and then put him back because I wanted him to breed this other rabbit. And when I put him back, then he smelled like an unfamiliar doe. Another situation I had is when I had a rabbit who was coughing, and I pulled her out so I could assess her and make sure the coughing was under control. Come to find out, it was just from her digging so much that she was inhaling dust and it just made her cough. Once she was out of that situation, the coughing resolved, and so I placed her back in the colony. However, now she's been out of that colony, and guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna fight. Because the rabbit was removed from the colony and then reintroduced, they gotta have their little scuffle. This is always a time of another rabbit being able to step up and take over the alpha position, so they're going to fight, they're going to battle, and it's a normal thing. I do stay close after adding a rabbit back into my colony if they've been out for a little bit. I don't worry about rearranging it unless they've been out for a few weeks or so. If it's only been a little bit and they've been nearby, I'm not too worried about it because their smell is still all over everything. And so I don't worry about that, but I do stay close because they will fight and you will see fur flying, and that's okay. Never reach down with bare hands into a rabbit fight and try to break them up. They have very sharp claws, they have very strong teeth, and they will bite and scratch you. Do not step into them. You do not want to break up a dog fight. You do not break up a rabbit fight either, unless you have on like welding gloves or something and can protect yourself. I still wouldn't do it. Instead, I get in the colony with them, and if I see them getting a little too aggressive, I will make a loud noise. I will clap, I will yell, I will do something to startle them and break them apart. And that kind of gives them a minute to scuffle a little bit and then break apart and kind of get used to each other being in the colony again. After I don't know, 30 minutes or so, they're gonna get back into their happy, friendly self and they will be fine. Now, if you see a rabbit in your colony or in any other situation, take their chin and rub it on something. This is called chinning. Rabbits have scent glands under their chin and they rub it on stuff to mark it as theirs. And so they want to leave their scent everywhere. So if you're adding a rabbit back to a colony and you see the other rabbits in there go through chinning stuff, or that new rabbit go through and chin stuff, that's what it is. They're trying to add fresh scent to the colony to let that other rabbit know, hey, back off, this is mine and I still claim it. So that is just a fun little thing. If you've ever noticed your rabbit chinning, or if they have rubbed their chin on you, then they are claiming you as theirs. Now, rabbits in a colony don't always fight. Sometimes they snuggle with each other, they co-parent with each other. It is very common to see a doe or multiple does give birth in the same nest box and co-parent those litters together. The bucks will often go through and groom kits and things like that. However, you may have a situation where one of your rabbit is aggressive towards kits in your colony. I've seen people scared that bucks will do this, that other does will do this, and I'm going to go ahead and let you know now. Rabbits have different personalities just like people. Some people have issues where they are mean to other people. Rabbits are the same. Some rabbits have issues where they are mean to other rabbits, and there's nothing you can do about that. A rabbit can be a wonderful colony rabbit and then have, you know, a litter kit's born and it's like a switch flips and then they just go out and destroy that litter. I am going to go ahead and say our policy is if a doe, buck, any rabbit goes through and kills other rabbits or eats other rabbits or any of the such where they physically maim another rabbit outside of just, you know, a little scruff here and a little scuff there during a normal battle, we don't keep that rabbit on our homestead. We do not allow for aggressive animals on our homestead. It doesn't matter. Some does get aggressive during breeding. Some bucks get aggressive during breeding. If that's the case, they don't stay. We don't have aggressive animals, and that is our policy. Because animals breed their traits into their kit. So if you have an aggressive doe or an aggressive buck who's going around and killing kits, they very well will breed other rabbits who do the same. Rabbits should never in a colony eat their own or other people's kits out of aggression. It's not a territorial issue. If they are happily living together, then the kits that have their scent on them is not going to trigger an aggression issue. Because those kits are in that doe's fur and she's peed on them and they're drinking her milk and stuff, they smell like her. So other rabbits are going to see them as an offset of that doe. So if one doe is happy with another doe, she's not going to eat that doe's kits. That as a form of an aggression there would be where I automatically call the aggressive doe. If you have a nest box and you see a doe eating her own kits, that is a sign that you have a predator in the area and that doe is scared to attract a predator to her kits. Sometimes it's hard for me to get what I'm thinking and what I know out to y'all in a way that it's easy to understand. And that's why I like to write my books, because I can go back in and edit them and make it make more sense. It's a little bit more difficult when I talk to y'all and chat with y'all about it, but that ain't gonna stop me from chatting with y'all. Y'all just gotta bear with me on some things. So I'm going to do a quick rundown of all the points we touched on in this video, just so you have a refresher, and then we'll sign it off for today. Make sure you are introducing your rabbits at the same time or rearranging the colony when you introduce more rabbits. Always introduce them around the same ages. Never introduce a random kit into a fully established, mature colony. That's just asking for problems. Make sure your rabbits have hides and burrows, places to get away from each other to break lines of sight so that they are not fighting. You want places where they can hide, get on top of, or get under to be able to defend themselves and allow tensions to cool down. Rabbits do have a hierarchy. They have a pecking order, and they need to establish that pecking order. Small skirmishes between them are common. These include fur pulling, chasing around, and some growling. If they are cutting each other, drawing blood, then it is moved beyond a small skirmish, and you need to pay closer attention to your rabbits. They can get very aggressive and will fight to the death if their conditions are not appropriate. You need to give your rabbit space. A minimum of 10 square foot per mature rabbit in a colony. Increase that space if she's going to have kits that stay with her fairly long term, or you're having more mature rabbits in your colony. You can always build up if you can't build out. If you have kits that are being eaten in your colony or killed, you need to look at who is doing it. If it's done by another doe or another buck, that is an aggression issue, and the one that's doing the killing should be culled. If it is done by the mama herself, then it is usually a predator issue, and you need to pay attention to what predators are in your area. Set out rat traps as the #1 predator issue you're going to have with rabbits, and see what you catch. Just because you don't see them doesn't mean they're not there. Rabbits will not think that you are a predator. You are a person, and they are used to your scent. Same thing with kits. They know each other's scent, and they're not going to see those kits as a predator. So if another doe is killing another doe's kits, or a buck is killing a doe's kits, it is a form of aggression, and that rabbit needs to be culled from the program. So I hope you learned a lot today and you have a successful colony with your rabbits. I plan to cover a lot more on colony life coming up, and I will be doing a video on what I think the pros and cons are between rabbit colony, rabbit tractors, and rabbit cages, so you know what is the best option for you. So if you are looking forward to more meat rabbit videos, or you're interested about living off grid or our shed to house building, make sure you subscribe and stay tuned to our channel. We love to have y'all around. If you're on Facebook or Instagram, follow us over there for more behind the scenes content, where we show more about what it is to raise rabbits on a daily basis and what it is to live off grid on a daily basis. I am thankful to have y'all here, and I look forward to chatting with you again. So until next time, bye friends. I will see you later.